Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are going to look at a lot, be prepared for a lot of swatches and a lot of highlighters. A week or so ago, I did my roundup of all the cream and liquid blushes that have been released in the past few months, and those are really only rivaled by the sheer amount of highlighters that have come on the scene. So many of us are kind of highlighted out, and others of you maybe have waited and would like to compare. This video will definitely compare. What I have done is really delved into highlighters that have been released in the past, less than a year really. When the mood strikes me, I'll mention some tried and true hero products and favorites, but for the most part, I'm really sticking to liquid, cream, and powder highlighters that have been more recently released. That's where you come in if you have a favorite, tried and true, that's been on the market for years, and I'll probably not list it. I'm trying to stick to new ones. Go ahead and list that below. I will throw in some old favorites just as, as I think of them here. And I am also going to swatch them all and compare them all in both studio and natural light so you can kind of get a sense for how all these look. Wait till you see all the varying shades of all these. You would think a highlighter is just a highlighter, but really we know better. I've also linked them all below for you to access and shop, except where they're limited edition. Highlighters are kind of an easy thing for brands to make limited edition and put in special packaging. So a lot of these kind of flash in the pan, literally, that's kind of funny, flash in the pan, have come and then gone. So I would love to know also when you're commenting below, let me know what highlighters you waited on and have now missed and are kind of sorry that you've missed. So I'd love to hear all of that from you guys as we go along. We will also talk prices, and I tried to stick to just highlighter, solely highlighter products. If it is a highlighter only palette, I might have included it. Looks like I included a few of those. I did not include highlighters that were part of a larger face palette. Also had blush or bronzer. Not because those aren't good, some of them are amazing, but just because truly we would be here all day and I would have to go through many more of my Dr. Pepper Cherry Zeros. So I only have one here open. We'll see if I can manage not to spill it. So we're going to get started. I've divided these into kind of a section of cream and liquid blushes, and then I have also then divided it into powder, kind of two separate sections as they're separate things. But first, me and my makeup history, I wanted to talk to you about highlighters. I have a quiz for you that I really want to see who's going to get this right. But the first thing is, highlighters as we use them today in the makeup industry and at home use for makeup, putting highlighters kind of here on the high points of the cheek and even down the nose, even the trend on the tip of the nose and above the eyes. That really started, Cupid's bow, that really started right around 2016, and you can thank YouTube and Instagram influencers and such for bringing that to light. Before 2016, most highlighting, of course, makeup artists and such used it, but really it was a technique and a trick for stage, of course, because highlights truly highlight and bring forward parts of the face, and that was really important for theater and stage acting, and that's where this first started and where it's born out of. But here's the quiz, and I am so interested to see who's going to get this right. Try not to look below you and cheat, but comment if you can think of the very first brand, and extra bonus points if you can think of the product that was first released for commercial use as a highlighter. So not stage makeup that makeup artists went and bought. No. I mean actual home use highlighter. Do you know what it is? Because I'm going to tell you. Let me give you another second. I should play the music, the quiz music. Don't cheat. See if you got it. Did you get it? MAC Strobe Cream. MAC Strobe Cream was the very, very first. This is a little mini because I've got them in all sorts of different shades. And of course now MAC makes these, in every shade and every type. But the original MAC Strobe Cream was released in the year 2000. Even though most of us didn't start regularly incorporating highlighter into our makeup routine until about 2016 or so, MAC released their first version of the MAC Strobe Cream back in 2000. So I'm actually going to have that in my swatches, even though that's a real oldie. But I mean, the Strobe Cream is great. It could be put on as a highlighter. It can be mixed with makeup. It's still considered one of the best, and it was literally the first for commercial use. Raise your hand at home if you got that right. If you didn't and you know a lot about makeup, I bet you're kicking yourself, right? When I read it, I thought, oh, of course, the matte strobe cream, of course. All right, so let's talk about more than just that. I also have my little makeup eraser here. We're going to do some swatches, but in case I play with any here on camera, I won't get all highlighty and messy, right? So that MAC Strobe Cream, of course, is kind of a liquidy cream product that just kind of comes out like that. It was never that glaring, actually, although I put way too much on. It was never that glaring, and you can see why they make different shades of it now, because they want to suit more, more skin tones, which would make sense. But that's kind of an oldie but a goodie that I had to include. And as we go into recent products, we of course have the Anastasia Beverly Hills has a cream highlighter stick that has this removable brush on one side, which is really nice. This cream highlighter stick, recent release from Anastasia Beverly Hills, is $34 and comes in 6 shades. I have out here for our reference the shade Bubbly, which you'll see in my swatches in a minute. Kind of a golden shade, really pretty kind of golden shade. You can see it reflecting the light right there. Really easy to use. This paired with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Blush really are a nice duo. You can just kind of put them on so easily, and then you just use the brush, and that brush detaches for cleaning. So it's really, really nice. I have a lot of Pat McGrath highlighters in here. So one throwback that I will include from Pat McGrath. Do you guys remember her highlighter balm duo? It comes in 3 shades and is $48. I brought out the shade Nude for us to see. It's got a balm on one side that's just kind of a clear balm. You can use it alone. Just the balm alone will make a little bit of a highlight look. And then this is, like I said, the shade Nude. The other side has a roll up and roll down highlighter. And this was one of the originals and is still for sale. It was not limited edition. So many of Pat McGrath's powder highlighters are, but I know I said I'm mostly doing brand new releases, but I did want to do that throwback since we're going to mention so many new Pat McGrath highlighters. This is actually still available for $48 in all 3 shades, and I did link it. It's just a really nice cream highlighter that I think sometimes we forget about. So I wanted to mention that. Let's go into some of these great liquid highlighters, and then I'll have a swatch comparison of all of the liquids and creams that we're looking at. Okay, the first product is one that I have been extolling the virtues of, and I think it's kind of forgotten about, and that is the Melt Makeup, the Melt Cosmetics Sex Foil. Other than the stupid name, which is supposed to refer to the sex foil in architecture, but really just kind of comes off as an excuse to talk like a 12-year-old middle schooler, But anyway, I have 2 shades that I brought out here, Afterglow and Peaches and Cream. So this is a liquid highlighter, and here's why I like it. $39, 4 shades, as I said. Here's 2 of them. The reason I like it, and I'll show you here with Afterglow, it can be mixed. This is multi-purpose. It can be mixed with makeup. It has a little squirty top. I probably would have preferred a doe foot, but it can be mixed in with your makeup, which I often do. Any shade can mix in, just use little or more. And since there's 4 shades, you can get any sort. It can be mixed in. It can be applied on the top of the high points afterwards. It can be kind of gently worn alone or worn and then powdered. I love the consistency of it. That's a lot of it, obviously. You really wouldn't put that much on or you'll look like R2-D2, but, or C-3PO. Take your pick, I suppose. Either one, I like these very, very much. And I think when they came out, both the silly name and their lateness to the highlighter, liquid highlighter game kind of made a lot of people reject the product. And I wish that hadn't happened because it's actually a really good release by Melt. And that brand can be so hit and miss. But if you're still looking in the market for a liquid highlighter, the Sex Foil is a really, really good product and it didn't get a lot of attention. Speaking of another good liquid highlight product, Lisa Eldridge has her Elevated Glow that comes in 4 shades for $38. I have here the Cosmic Rose and the Solar Light. These are nice because just like I complained about the Melt product, these solve that and have this lovely large doe foot applicator that you can just kind of put on. Again, this can be mixed, but I like to just apply this, to dot this on kind of on the high points of the cheeks, and then just kind of rub it in, either gently tap it in with fingers or with a brush or a damp sponge, however you prefer to put it on. The applicator on that is really nice. You know, in my liquid and cream cheek blush video, I was complaining, and so many joined me in comments about her liquid blushes getting stuck and clogged, and so many of us had problems with it bursting. This got the applicator absolutely right and the consistency perfect. This is a great product. This wouldn't be complete when we talk about liquid highlighters without a few different products, and we're going to start with those. First of all is the Auric Glow Lust. This is the shade Selenite, but it comes in 7 shades and is $45. I was somewhat late to the game, a month or so, which is late for me, to this, because at first I wasn't interested, but I absolutely love this. And let me tell you what. It is a really thick product with a lot of coverage for a highlighter. Let me just show you. This is also a pump and probably would have done better as a doe foot, but it is, wait till you see the coverage. Look at this. It's a thick product, and it covers like a combination between a foundation and a highlighter. It's like a very dewy foundation. And then you can take some and dot it over and kind of add more highlight. When I want a no makeup look, aren't you sick of that expression? But it just works. When I want a no makeup look, I will just put on a light amount of this with a little extra kind of over it. It's got coverage and it's very thick. When it first came out, it was compared to the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, and I think that's entirely inaccurate. This is a much thicker product with a lot more coverage, and I tend to not mix it with a foundation. I tend to wear it as a dewy foundation, but also as a highlighter. It's beautiful. So speaking though of Charlotte Tilbury, which we just were, I do want to talk about her products because the Hollywood Flawless Filter definitely comes into play as in Nude, only because the Hollywood Flawless Filter now has 12 shades, and some of them have been recently released. Plus now there is a travel size version. So you can get the travel size version for $15. This is the regular size for $44. This is probably one of the most perfect products ever invented. A, it's got the doe foot applicator. B, it's not too thick and not too thin in terms of coverage. This is shade 3, by the way. I constantly put this under a matte foundation to give it a little bit more life, and then I will even put some over. Then I will stray and start using the Milk product that we saw, or the Auric, and then I come back to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter and think, oh, my makeup actually looks really good today, and I realize it's because I went back to the Charlotte Tilbury product. It is just a beautiful product, beautiful consistency. Now that we've added some shades to it, beautiful shade range, different size choices, this is one of the most perfect makeup products ever invented, honestly. But if we're going to do a little bit of a throwback for Charlotte Tilbury, a lot of you will think her the duo that she did with the highlighter and bronzer, but that's more of a face palette, so I'm not going to do that one. But I will talk about her beauty light wands. I'm holding up 3 here. This is the original one right here, and this is the Peach Gasm and Gold Gasm, but there's also the Pillow Talk light wands, and I have them linked below. Most of them are still available, different shades available on the Charlotte Tilbury website versus Sephora, etc., but you can find these around. The funny thing about these, and you know, most of you will agree with me, but some of you will go, oh, that's why, and won't know. They never really told us when these first came out. They have a top, listen up if you don't know this, that twists, okay? You twist it to the left to open it, but you have to twist it back to the right to close it, or the darn thing will keep seeping out everywhere. So originally, when we all started purchasing these, so many of us complained that they were seeping everywhere, and you have to twist it and then twist it back closed. And those of us who couldn't get the product out didn't know we had to twist it left to open, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So the lefty-loosey, righty-tighty rule of makeup, rule of everything, applies to these Charlotte Tilbury wands. And I know these aren't new. That's one of my throwbacks that I'm including. Now that we got through those, I want to actually do a cream and liquid comparison on my arm. So let's go to that right now because I want you to take a look and I'll tell you what all the shades are. Starting now, let's go to that, starting from left to right. On the left is the very original MAC Strobe Cream, all the way on the left there, followed by the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick in the shade Bubbly. Then third over, I went ahead and included the highlight side of the Pat McGrath Labs highlighter balm. There's the nude highlighter there. I didn't put the balm shade on. Then coming on over, fourth over, we have two Sex Foil shades. We have Afterglow, followed by Peaches and Cream. Then to the right of that, we have two of Lisa Eldridge's Elevated Glows. We have the Cosmic Rose and the Solar Light, followed by a nice thick sample of Selenite, the Auric Glow Lust shade Selenite. And then winding things down, our last four over there are the Charlotte Tilbury highlight wands in the Beauty Light first one, Gold, and then Peach. And last but not least is shade 3 in the Hollywood Flawless Filter. It's kind of amazing when you see those how different all those shades are, and most of us just kind of throw those on as a highlighter if we're not picky. Let's look at them outside in the sunlight as well with the grass as a background. Wait till you see the way they look when they're all lined up. Take a look at that there. When they're all lined up, all beautifully held together. Look at that. What do you think? Look at all those cream and liquid highlighters. And I don't know what you prefer. When you're making comments below, let me know if you prefer a liquid or cream highlighter. We'll put those together. Or if you are more of a powder person. It depends what you like. All right, let's take a swig of our Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry here. Gotta stay hydrated. I know this stuff doesn't hydrate you. You don't have to tell me. For me, it's hydration. All right, let's now delve into the powders. That's actually the bigger portion. As much as highlighters seem like they should be liquid, so many of the recent releases are powder or a type of powder. Okay, so let's start with a very recent release. This is the Fenty Diamond Veil, $42. I think I might have skipped the prices on some of the others, but I'll put them in the bottom in editing. Okay, the Fenty Diamond Veil is $42, and it is a bit of a controversial product. Here it is in the pan, as you can see, and again, we will do some swatches on the arm. They're really nice because it's like a cool kind of jelly texture that almost feels like a spongy cream, but when it's applied to the face, just kind of becomes really sparkly and glittery without having any sort of grit. It looks like it should have grit because it's so glittery. It's not a very pigmented product, and for $42 you can do better. I think they're fun, and if you have them, you'll use them. Somebody was asking me, I think it was Natty was asking me, would they be better if applied with a finger? Yes and no. I mean, you know, they're not highly pigmented to begin with, so you might get a little more out of them when applying with a finger. You know, they're not great. Okay, one that is great though, Natasha Denona. Now, Natasha Denona, most of her really fantastic sensational highlighters are within her other face palettes, which is kind of a whole video in and of itself that we'll do another time. But as a standalone highlighter from Natasha Denona, this one came and went a little too quickly. Her $42 I Need a Nude highlighter. This is a darn good everyday highlighter. It's just a kind of pretty golden champagne, works on so many different skin tones. Let me know below if you have this little $42 guy. This is a beautiful highlighter. I often forget to use it, and then when I'm reminded, I come right back to it. Natasha Denona, though, as I mentioned, has such gorgeous highlighters hidden within all her face palettes. But as a standalone highlighter, the I Need a Nude is absolutely gorgeous. All right, speaking back to Charlotte Tilbury, now that we're over on the powder side, boy, we have a lot from her. This one is a limited edition. I have it linked because it's still available on her website, but I don't know if it ever came to Sephora or just came and went from Sephora. This is her Superstar Glow. It's $55 because it is a big, giant pan that I guess is refillable like her others. And also a beautiful highlighter, almost like a pinker champagne, I guess you could say. And don't worry, I will be swatching this on the arm for you. Charlotte, of course, originally had her bar of gold write in comments if you remember her original Bar of Gold highlighter, and that was gorgeous. And then a little throwback, her trio, Bar of Gold trio, which I love to mix. When I do the swatches, just because I included this, I'll do them all separately. But for me, this is a great thing to just swirl your brush in and apply. And it's still one of the most beautiful highlighters out there. You know, when Charlotte came out with this Superstar, we were all raving about this highlighter, but we forget Charlotte Tilbury has done some of the most gorgeous highlighters out there. She really has. Let's jump back over to Pat McGrath Labs now. Woo, she has released a highlighter with like every collection, and they come and they go. We talked about her older duo with the balm, and of course she did have a trio of powder highlighters that was $50 and is actually still available, so I went ahead and linked that below. But in the most recent, because I'm really trying to stick to recent ones, we had this $48 Divine Glow that came in this black packaging with the nail breaking clasp, which we hope they'll change. This is a beautiful, beautiful shade. Let me hold this up and compare it to the Divine Rose 2 highlighter, which came in this pink casing and I think is all but gone. Let me know if you guys can find it, or maybe your country still has it. And then the Skin Fetish that came in this really heavy gold packaging, which it also seems to have kind of come and go. And this is that one that really had that almost dark kind of pink cast to it. And to me, this one in the gold packaging is the most interesting of the three. It just kind of would go almost dark. And I kind of like that in a highlighter. Lately, I like to take risks in my highlighter. I don't want them to be so subtle. And what I like about this is it's not like it shines like a beacon. It's that it has a little bit more interest and depth to it. And I really enjoy that. But boy, is this heavy. Don't throw this at someone. Or if you have malintent, throw this at someone. Because it would work. Let me tell you, this is a weapon. I did not tell you, nor do I endorse throwing a Pat McGrath highlighter. My goodness, it's limited edition and you can't find it anywhere. Don't throw it at someone, it will break. You won't be able to replace it. You didn't hear that here. Okay, let's talk about Makeup by Mario. So his last release was came in 5 shades, and it was this soft glow. It was $28, which is for high-end makeup kind of a bargain. I bought it in the shade Golden. I've been meaning to buy it in some other shades. I like this because this, for me, does what the Fenty, the recent Fenty release of the Diamond Veil should have done but doesn't. It's that chunky glitter that's not chunky or crusty, but it still has that kind of mirrored foily shine to it that I think the Fenty lacks. I think Makeup by Mario gets better with every release. I'm just personally a really big fan. And this one, like I said, came in 5 shades, and I really do need to pick up some more. It's just kind of a very pretty everyday do-it-all highlighter. If you're looking for a powder highlighter that you can really rely on, I'll be giving my recommendations at the end, but that's certainly going to be one of them. Hourglass has beautiful powders. Say what you might. I know we have trouble with their complexion powders. Trust me. And even their highlights. Trust me, I know. But this ambient lighting, the strobe palette, and I'll link it below, for $64 for Hourglass. That's kind of affordable. These are lovely shades. The reason I have this in here, and I said I wouldn't do any palettes, is this is really just a highlighter palette, and I use it the way I use the Charlotte Tilbury Trio. I just swirl around and then kind of go in, and I really think these are just beautiful, beautiful shades. There's so many others that I like. What is the Glow Getter by Private Society? I like those, but I'm really trying, if I can, to just stick to recents, and this is somewhat recent. I just wanted to put it in there. Also, speaking of somewhat recent, when we talk about highlighter palettes, Dior Backstage Glow. These were such good highlighter palettes. I think there was like 3 shades. I have Rose Gold here, and I have Glitz, which is a slightly darker, and I will swatch these for you to see. But this is another great one to run your brush over. I haven't seen the Rose Gold one in quite some time, so I don't know if that's still available. I did link what I could find, and you can report below if you found it recently. But these are just beautiful. Dior Backstage can't do anything wrong in my opinion, and those are beautiful, beautiful highlighter palettes. tad bit of a throwback, but indulge me. All right, let's move on to Huda. So this is Huda's most recent in her Nymph collection. She did this Helios powder highlighter. And I'll tell you why this is interesting. I tend to swirl over all of it and mix it. But the fun thing about this shade Helios is if you want to go in with a slightly smaller brush, you can just hit and get a bunch of different shades of highlight or mix them. And I kind of like that. It's a, this kind of combines with the Flora shade, which she originally released, and again is limited edition and you can't find anywhere, but I'll show it to you. The Flora was the lighter version, also had, I have to hold mine in, it needs some super glue. It also has a variety of different shades in there, not as strong a variety as the Helios version, but it is actually very, very pretty. And then Huda released that very funny cover, of course. I mean, we've all been laughing about this. The Glow Obsessions. Everybody had a lot of laughs that she looked like some sort of a dictator on the on the front of it. This came in 3 shades. This is the medium and it was $29, whereas that Helios is a much steeper $55. But this is just kind of a really nice, useful 4 shades of highlighter that, again, you can pick and choose or swirl around or use on the eyes or make yourself look like a dictator of a small country, if you'd like to, as Huda did. Smiling up at you from your counter. Here's one of my favorites, and I just wanted to give it a plug because it's more readily available than it's ever been. I think I found it at Ulta. This is the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Palette. Now you're going to say nothing is new about that, Rebecca. Custom Enhancer drops have been available from Cover FX forever. It is more recently, and now more recently more widely introduced, is the powder versions. These are so creamy. They almost feel like powder to cream. I know that isn't a thing, but we're going to say it. They're so creamy when you touch the powder, and then when you put them on your face, they almost apply, and they almost apply like a cream or a liquid. They are so creamy, dreamy, and beautiful, and now more widely available. For $39, they are exceptionally good. I'm going to tell you what my favorites are here, but let's first go to an arm swatch in Studio Light of all of those powder products that we just discussed. The bottom row, here's the way it goes: Fenty Diamond Veil, followed by my Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. We got the Superstar Glow from Charlotte Tilbury. And then to the right of that, we have all 3 shades of the Charlotte Tilbury triple bar of gold there. Going right into Pat McGrath. In the Pat McGrath swatches on the left, we have Divine Glow, then that pink case Divine Rose 2, and then that Skin Fetish in the weaponry of the heavy golden case. Then we go to the Mario Soft Glow in the shade Golden. 3 shades of our Hourglass Ambient Lighting Strobe. And then we have many, many, many shades of the Dior Backstage, the Rose Gold followed by the Glitz. So that's 8 shades there. And then up top, we have Huda Helios next to Flora, just for reference. 3 shades from the Gold Obsessions Medium Palette. And then the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Palette, that little $39 palette. And it's just kind of interesting to see all those together and how they play off each other. Let's take it outside against the backdrop of the grass in the sunshine. Take a look at all of these on my arm. I know it's a lot to take in. I know. And I just wanted you to see them all there. These are all the highlighters and the differences. Sometimes it's hard to see them all unless you see them all together like that, although it's a bit overwhelming. I want to know, I did mix in some old favorites. I kind of said I wouldn't, but you know I had to. What are your old favorites that you would have thrown in here? What of these that we looked at, especially the recent releases, do you have, or were you deciding between, was this kind of helpful, and what did you think of seeing all those swatches together? My recommendation for cream highlighter, if I had to pick one, it's always going to be in the cream and liquid category, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. And in the powder, it's going to be the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude and the Mario, believe it or not, and the little Mario highlighter, powder highlighter. Those are pretty much, I mean, I love them all, but those are really my favorites, along with Cover FX if you want to save some money, you will love this product. So tell me all of your thoughts below. That was a lot of highlighters, and I might even have a little chunk missing in the middle there that I edited around because my camera actually stopped recording. It's never done that before. That means this video must be 5 hours long or something like that. So do let me know below your thoughts, what you bought, what you're skipping, what you hadn't decided on. Let me know if this helped. Give me your favorites. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.